Does that work? I hope I'm recording. Otherwise, I'm doing this again. Anyway, what's up, everybody? This is a failing of I'm leaving it in for comedy. Enjoy. All right. So, if you saw my last video, we're looking at kind of the pre-con decks. We know that we're getting 12 cards additional to kind of adjust the decks with, and we're looking at strong decks, weak decks, why things make them good or bad, what I would do to kind of adjust the deck, etc. So right now we're looking at fire. We just looked at water. We explained that water is kind of weak, but there's a few changes that would instantly make it way better. Now, fire's got the opposite issue. Fire is very strong right now, but also has a couple cards that make no sense in it. So we're going to kind of look at fire, what I would do to change it. So right now, if you've watched other content creators like Moxie and everything ELESTRALS, he's got a great video. It's 40 minutes, but honestly, it's a great watch about the decks and his comments on it. We had a lot of discussions the other day in Discord about it. Fire is definitely in the strongest spot right now for quite a few reasons. The first reason is not because the fire deck is strong, is because most of the decks lack removal that can deal with fire. A lot of the decks, except for Earth, have maybe one or two hard removal cards like Earthquake or Laurels, or something that immediately directs and impacts the board. And because of that, Fire, being a heavy attack combat based deck, has just such an easy time going, alright, destroy that, I have a big creature, good luck dealing with it. And just snowballs. So that being said, we're getting some extra sideboard cards and stuff to put into the deck. So let's also look at how we can improve Fire deck and what makes. So we just talked about what makes it good, but let's talk about what cards in this deck are fantastic and what don't need to be here. As I said with Water, Cinder, not necessarily a bad card. No idea what it's doing in these decks. Nothing has to do with milling our opponents out, right? We want to get rid of those right away. The Sprouter in this deck is great because we want to get the hammer out ASAP. Clovey's okay for like a weaker draw effect. There's not a ton of Earth Nexus capabilities in the deck except Circle the Sky, so Clovey's not the greatest, but he's passable. Astrabit, it's a solid draw card. Look at the top three, draw one. Definitely way better than Clovey. Because this is better stats than Clovey. You look at more cards than Clovey, and you get one card. So you're netting the same effect, but better and better stats. So Clovey's kind of useless if you have more Astrabits. Just saying. We know that Warmite's already good. Flaracne, I haven't seen played too much, but this is a fire control card. I don't necessarily know if it belongs in the deck. Kindleo, really good. It's a destroy effect. You can Nexus to himself to destroy something, attack for 3 right away. Very good aggro card. He's a 4-1, so theoretically you can get cracked back and lose him right away. But he does his job. He removes something and does direct damage. He's basically an eruption with a caveat that says, oh, also destroy something on your opponent's board. Very good. Leonite, I think the one of in this deck is more than enough. We're not trying to be super controlling this deck, but if your opponent is playing a lot of removal spells, this is how the deck's supposed to answer removal spells. But there's no removals in the other decks. So I would say if all the decks were not changing, Leonite would be the first thing to go. But because a lot of the decks are getting some additional cards to play with, Leonite, one of, stays in to deal with the removal that a lot of decks are going to be adding to their boards. Volcaries, such a strong card. I said in my video a while ago about Volcaries and Tectorus is Volcaries of the two is going to be the strong one because fire is going to be the attacking aggro kind of color, and that holds true. Volcaries on turn 1, I've seen him hit 10, 12 with minimal effort. Brutera, a little bit rougher to get there, but Brutera can get there. Volcaries, though, especially with this deck, huge. Necrof we know is good. Blazarus is what makes this deck so oppressive because he just hits so hard. Trifernal, yeah, he's here. No one really uses him. You don't ever get to the point that you need him with this deck. But it's good to have at least one Trifernal in the deck. Volcanic Forge is good. Circle of Sky, solid. Hammer of Hephaestus, fantastic card. Such a good card. And the best part is, we basically have 4 in the deck because we have 2 Hephaestus to search them. And we almost have an essential 6 because we have Sprouter to get it as well. So Sprouter just goes for an artifact. We have 2 hammers. We get those hammers out ASAP, put them on Valkyries, makes the deck great. Nog, always good. I think aggro is one of the deck archetypes where you really don't need more than 2 in the deck because, yeah, you might just draw into more creatures you can't play, but that's okay because we're just trying to do our big, it's a little over expending or like going a little overboard, but we just want that huge Valkyries in play or a huge Blazers in play. We don't need to keep drawing cards to do that. We just need to get our hammer, etc. Jolton gets our Volcanic Forge. Volcanic Forge is great with Valkyries and such. I think he's a solid fit in this deck. He's a tutor for a stadium. It's like we're playing an extra stadium. Granted, we do have 2 Volcanic Forges, but he's a body, and bodies are good. Worst case scenario, you already have Volcanic Forge in play. You misenchant him, so he's a 4/3 just for backup. I don't think this deck needs 2 Pandora's boxes. It's not in this deck's MO to do it. I think 1 is fine. I think in most decks, Pandora's box is one of, at least if we only have a main board, you don't want a ton of Pandora's boxes because it's very often a dead card. Ambrosia in this deck is okay. This deck's about being more aggressive than others, so I don't think we necessarily need the Ambrosia. Gorgon's Gaze. It's a solid card in this deck. It's slow for how aggro we are, but I think the 1 of is fine. Earthquake, why is this like okay, Earthquake should be in a lot of decks. The fact that the aggro decks gets the best control card is like mind blowing. Why does the aggro deck get Kind Leo and Earthquake? Why does the aggro deck have the second most removal cards? It makes no sense as far as this just confined space of just the 5 decks. But Earthquake's good. Eruption's great in this deck because this is what the deck's trying to do. Where in the Water deck, Water's not trying to do this. Why is Eruption there? In this deck, Eruption's great. So, how would I make this deck better with what we're swapping out? So the cards I would immediately take out would be I'd probably take out 1 Clovey if not 2. So if we have an extra Ash Rabbit, I would take out 2 Clovies and put an Ash Rabbit in its place. Right? So let's do that. I would take out the Cinders. Very obvious reasons. I would add a couple of Eruptions because I'm pretty sure we have the cards. So actually, we do have the link. So let me pull it real up quick and let me see what we're getting additional. Because for this deck, we actually know that what we're getting an additional to the original cards. So let me pull this up so I have it right in front of me and we can build this better idea of a deck right now. So we're getting another Kind Leo, another Phylactery, another Valkyries, another Ambrosia, Earthquake, Gorgon's Gaze, Thunderstorm, Leonite, Shield of Achilles, Poison Tipped Arrow, and Eruption. So we're getting some more control cards. So we're not getting an Ash Rabbit. So we're going to leave 1 Clovey in for the draw effect. Let me rearrange these a little bit so that it's a little organized. And that way I can keep count. We are definitely adding another Valkyries. I'm just going to throw them up here for now. Valkyries is really good. What else are we taking out? Flacney, probably going to take that out because we are usually going to be the biggest creature on the board. We don't need to slow our opponent's creatures down from attacking if they can't even hit us. We're taking out a Trifernal. We only need 1 Trifernal. And we don't want to draw it. Oh, let me double check that. Can Blazarus get Trifernal from hand? Yes. So we only want 1 Trifernal. Ideally, we don't draw it, and we special summon it with Blazarus because we never really need to get to Trifernal. Is there anything else I want to take out? No, I think. Oh yeah, we're taking out 1 Pandora's box. So we have 3 more slots. We will add another Kind Leo because Kind Leo is really strong. We added another Valkyries. We have access to Earthquake, so I think an extra Earthquake. And and we would get a Thunderstorm. I think having a 1 Thunderstorm would be nice in this deck. So let's go grab a Thunderstorm from a deck that I'm pretty sure has Thunderstorm in it. Whoops. I'm going to have to pull it out. I thought I could let me just copy it, throw it back in, get that Thunderstorm. So we'll run a Thunderstorm. I think something like this would make the deck stronger. 1 Ambrosia is okay. Having an option to get, some of the Earth Spirits back for what you need the Earth Spirits back for like Earthquakes and Sprouters and stuff. That's fine. Having the Ambrosia for those options is good. And yeah, that's what make this deck stronger. Just taking out Flaracne, Cinder, Clovey, a Trifernal, and a Pandora's Box, and adding a little bit of more particular removal, a little bit of Kindleo for the removal aggro, something to get rid of problematic runes on your opponent's boards. Something like this, I think, is pretty solid. So yeah, uh, did I just say, oh, let's make the best deck in the vacuum of these decks better? Yes, but with the 12 cards we're getting, we're probably improving all of the decks, and the biggest improvement to all the decks is adding that removal and consistency. So yeah, that's the fire deck. We'll move on to, I guess, probably Thunder next. Again, this will be a 5-video series. They're all going to come out in the next 24 hours from the first one posting. So I'll see you hopefully right away in the next video. Talk to you guys later. Peace.